Tally ERP9 Release 5.0 brings to you some of the revolutionary features that can change how businesses run. With the plethora of new capabilities, Tally ERP9 promises enhanced user experience. Language enhancement in the product is one such powerful capability that can help the developer save time, effort, and thus maximize his revenues. This video will take you through the language enhancements in Tally ERP9 Release 5.0. A lot of your customers might have requested for changes in the default invoice formats, supporting documents, or addition of completely new invoice format itself. The requirement might look very small. However, who else better than you would know the time and effort required to complete such requests? You might have faced certain challenges when it came to customization of the templates or documents like invoices or reports. There are three possible requirements: designing a new format, changes in an already customized document or template, and changes in default format of a document or template. Let us take an example where a change request has come for a new invoice layout, and that would mean working from the scratch. Let's have a look at the invoice. This invoice looks a bit complex. This would require designing the entire layout of the invoice in TDL, ensuring the correct measurements, and then setting the required data in the fields of the invoice. Here is another example where a change request has come in the default template. On the left side of the screen is a default sales template from Tally ERP9. The customer wants a salesman column right after the description of goods column. Seems simple, isn't it? But the steps involved to do this minor change in the sales invoice are a bit time consuming. First, you will have to search for the report of the sales invoice. Next, you will have to search for the correct part in the report where the new column has to be added. And then find the line in the part and the field in the line where this new field has to be added. After completing this search, the next step is to add the fields which will display the data without disturbing the exact format or layout. The last step is to set the data to be displayed in the fields. So, to summarize, the major challenges here would be searching the right place in the report to add the details, and adding the details in the report such that the existing format stays intact. Considering the same example that we took earlier, after searching and adding the new field, here is the output. Oops! The column doesn't seem to be fitting. Let's try again. Not a good idea. Let's try again. Almost there. Finally, mission accomplished. Well, wasn't that an effort-consuming and time-consuming process which required experts' presence even if the level of change was minute? Thus, to reduce the effort and time taken and to simplify the entire process, Tally ERP9 Release 5.0 introduces the new functionality called customization using productivity suites. We all are well versed with most of the productivity suites like Microsoft Office and OpenOffice. Integration of these with Tally ERP9 has resulted in flexibility to customize and print documents without any hassles. With this, one can build and modify the document layout in productivity suites as per the business requirements faster, requiring lesser expertise. Currently, Tally ERP9 Release 5.0 supports Microsoft Office 2003 and above, OpenOffice and XML. Let us now see this functionality in the product. Assume that the customer needs a completely new format of the sales invoice. We load the TDL and let's try to print a sales voucher. As you can notice, here is the new format of the sales invoice. Now let us assume that the customer needs a supporting document called pick list, which should be printed along with the sales invoice. So we load the TDL file, and now let's try to print the sales voucher. As you can notice, here is the new sales invoice format, and along with it the pick list too will be printed. Now coming to the third case, on the screen is the print preview of the default sales invoice. Now assume that the customer has requested for addition of a column called salesman next to the description of goods column. So now we load the TDL file. Let's now try to print the sales voucher. As you notice, the changes have been made and the print preview opened up in the Word document based on the input provided in the TDL. The salesman column is now added next to the description of goods column. Simple, isn't it? So, how did this TDL file do all the magic in no time? How is it different from any other TDL file? Let us go deep into the technicalities now.
This functionality can be achieved by specifying the following attributes in TDL. First is the form attribute resource. Resource attribute at form level is used to specify the name of the resource definition, which provides the details of XML-based document like MS Word, MS Excel, XML Exchange, Open Document Text or Open Document Spreadsheet that can be used for printing or exporting the form. Second is the form attribute XML map. XML map is a form level list type attribute which provides appropriate value for the tokens specified in the source document file. We will see it in detail in the following sections. Last one is the resource attribute resource type. In TDL, resource definition was introduced to allow accessing and using the resources like images, icons, cursors, etc. from a local disk, HTTP or FTP, or from a DLL or exe. The formats supported were BMP, JPEG, icon, CUR. These resources were allowed to be used in part definition using the attribute image for displaying, printing and exporting. In release 5.0, to support the feature print from productivity suite, the resource definition is enhanced to allow inclusion of Word XML, Excel XML, XML, ODT, ODS as resource types. Let us now understand the relevance and usage of each of the attributes with the help of few case studies. In each of these cases, you would realize that there are only 4 simple steps to be followed. First one is design. Design the required layout in any productivity suite. Second one, code. Write the code that will push the required data into the design productivity suite. Third one, set. Set the tokens in the productivity suite in congruence with the code. And the last one is execute. Execute the code in Tally and see the output. Let us take the first case. Your customer asks you to print the supporting document called pick list along with the sales invoice as shown on the screen. This pick list consists of the information on the party name, invoice number, invoice date and inventory details. Now let's go through the 4-step process for this case study. Step 1. Design. Design the required layout in any productivity suite. Considering Microsoft Office, let's design the layout in Microsoft Excel as shown with required measurements. First, let us put the borders for our pick list design. In the first line, the current company name will be captured, and here the title of the supporting document will be captured, which is nothing but pick list. and here the party name, the invoice or challan number, and here the date. And next let's specify the titles for the repeated information. Here the serial number, here the go down or rack number, here the item name, and here the quantity. So now our design of the pick list supporting document is ready. Once the design is complete, if the document belongs to Microsoft Office, then this needs to be saved as XML spreadsheet 2003 and above. So we'll save this as pick list and we'll save as type XML spreadsheet 2003 and make all the titles bold. If you had noticed, we completed the design of the entire layout in less than 2 minutes. Now moving on to the next step, that is code. Write the code that will push the data to the productivity suite. So here the productivity suite is Microsoft Office, in which MS Excel is our XML based document to which we have to push the data. Following the TDL tradition, we first write the report definition. In the form, we'll be using the two attributes resource and XML map. The resource attribute will take resource definition as its parameter. In the resource definition, the path of the already designed XML based document will be specified in the attribute source. So here, let's give the path of the Excel document we designed. The second form attribute, XML map, is the attribute where you specify the formula or method which carries the data to be written to the document by assigning to tokens specified in the source document file. Token is a dollar prefixed alphanumeric value without any spaces and special characters. Here the first parameter of the XML map, like line, company name, voucher number, and so on, are the ones that takes the shape of tokens in the XML document, like $line, $company name, $voucher number, and so on, which will be specified in appropriate places in the document. So, if the token $company name is mentioned in any field in the source document file, then the system checks if any of the XML map attribute has the first parameter company name. If there is, then the value assigned to the XML map company name will be evaluated and written to the source document in the field where $company name is assigned. In this case, the value assigned is the system formula CMP mailing name, which carries the mailing name of the current company. Thus, the mailing name of the current company will be written to the field in the source file wherever $company name is assigned. Likewise, all the tokens will be replaced with their respective values, and finally a document with filled in values is published with a random file name. So XML map, as the name suggests, maps the data to the XML based document via tokens. The third attribute, which is the resource attribute, resource type, which supports the feature of print from productivity suites, allowing the inclusion of Word XML, Excel XML, XML, ODT, ODS as resource types. These 5 are the parameters to this attribute, and in this case, it is Excel XML. Now, moving on to the next step, that is set. Set the tokens in the XML based document, which is our source file, in congruence to the code written. As you can see, the tokens are set in the appropriate fields of the Excel shown here. The last step is to execute the TDL in Tally and see the output. And thus the pick list is ready. Now let us set the tokens in our source file one by one and see the output. Let us first set the party name, the company name, the invoice number, and then the date. Now, in order to execute the code in Tally, we first add the report to be printed to the form sales color so that our supporting document gets printed with the default sales invoice. Now, let's print a sales voucher and see the output. So if you can see, the default sales invoice is getting printed first, and then our supporting document pick list gets printed. So as expected, the company name, the party name, the invoice number and the date of the voucher is getting printed, and the preview with the filled in values is getting opened in a randomly named file with the same configuration as the source document. So while printing, the preview opens up in the chosen application, which in this case is MS Excel. The file name is generated randomly. This file can be further saved or used for printing. We need to now display the inventory details. The repeated information required is the item-wise, go-down-wise, actual quantity sold in the sales voucher. Let us first understand how these information can be filled in and then come back to the serial numbers. Let us go back to the code to understand how repeated information is set using the attribute XML map. A collection is written which will walk till the batch allocations through inventory details, where the item name, go down name and actual quantity details are gathered. In the form, a XML map is specified by setting one of the values from the collection, where the second parameter to the XML map would be the formula or method that you want to set from the collection, and the third parameter would be the name of the collection. And in this case, it is the STK item AGGR collection. So, while printing into Productivity Suite, the number of lines repeated in it would be equal to the number of objects present in the collection. Then, we just set the values of the go down and the actual quantity by using the methods from the collection STK item AGGR collection. You may wonder how the system gets the XML maps of the go down and the actual quantity from the values of the collection, while we have not specified any collection name in these XML maps. This is because when the line is repeated based on the objects of the collection, the lines in the Productivity Suite are in context with the objects of the collection. Any token specified in these lines will get evaluated in context of the object it is associated with. Thus, item go down name and actual QTY tokens get evaluated in the context of the objects from the collection STK item AGGR collection. Now, let us set the tokens in the source file and see the output. We set the token for the go down, and then the stock item, and then the quantity in our source document. Now let's print the sales voucher and see the output. Thus, we are able to fetch the required information. Finally, the serial numbers, which are nothing but the line numbers, have to be printed. Since the layout design is not happening in TDL, $line, which gives the line number, will not work in this case. To replicate the same functionality for repeated information, a function called TPL line is introduced. This will provide the position of repeated information analogous to $line. Here the function TPL line is accessed in the XML map line. Similarly, any format related attributes or functions will not work for this functionality. Now let us set this token in the source file and see the complete output. Let's print the sales voucher. Here is your output as required by your customer. Like already said, the layout design took less than 2 minutes and now coding took less than 30 lines. Thus, the overall time taken to complete this customization taking less than 20 minutes. Doesn't this functionality sound amazingly simple and easy? Likewise, if your customer wants to explode batch allocation details for every item, the same can be done by adding a line for batch allocation in the source document and following the same 4-step process to fetch the batch allocation details. In case the information to be fetched from tally are directly available as default methods in an object, then for those methods, XML map need not be written. Instead, the methods can be directly set as tokens. So now going back to the code, the XML maps for voucher number, date and party name are already available as direct default methods in the voucher object as voucher number, date and party ledger name. So we set these methods as it is in our source document file and delete the XML maps written for these information. We save the file, refresh the TDL and print the sales voucher. As you see, the information is getting printed even though the XML maps for these information is not mentioned in the code. And this is because these tokens are available by default as methods in the voucher object. Let's take up the second case. After giving the above customization to your customer, he now asks for few other details to be printed in the supporting document. The details being dispatch document number and dispatched by information as shown. Now let's follow the 4-step process. First, let's alter our already existing picklist source document to accommodate the details dispatch document number and dispatched by. Here we capture the dispatch document number and here the dispatch by. Now let's add the two XML maps to capture these information. First XML map captures the dispatch document number and this is set with the method $basic_ship document number, which is available at the voucher object which holds the dispatch document number detail. And the second XML map holds the dispatch by information, which is available in the method basic_ship_by. Now let's set these two tokens in the source document file. So we have set the tokens dispatch doc number and dispatch by in our source document file. Now let's enter the details. And print the sales voucher. And here we witness the changes made. Can you guess the time taken to do this change? It took me almost 2 minutes to do it. I am sure you can do the same in lesser time. Taking case 3, where you visit your customer with the supporting document pick list as per his requirement, and now he asks for a customization in default sales invoice. The customization being addition of salesman details right next to the description of goods column in the sales invoice. This particular customization can be done in 2 ways. Way 1 being the traditional way of changing the default code to add the column, which is effort consuming and time consuming process. Way 2 is the simpler way of designing the default invoice in the chosen productivity suite, which can be used for further customization using the functionality print from productivity suite. Now let's see how the functionality print from productivity suites is used to do this customization following the 4-step process. For a change, for this case, let's consider MS Word as our source file. Step 1 is to design the customized sales invoice as per requirements given by the customer in MS Word, and the design is right in front of you. If you see, a salesman column is added right next to the description of goods column. Step 2, code. Considering we enter the salesman details in the item description field of the voucher, we write the code that will push all the details to the source file. However, a simple UDF can also be used to capture the salesman details. So at the form level, we have the attribute resource, which takes the parameter resource definition, which is invoice word XML, where the path of the already designed Word file is given in the source attribute, and the resource type here is Word XML. And then we have the XML map details of the company name, of the company address and the party address, and then the order date and the shipping date, and we have the details of the inventory and the batch allocation details and the ledger entry details. Now, step 3. Step 3 is to set the tokens in the source file in congruence with the written code. And if you see, the tokens are already set in their appropriate places. And now the last step is to configure the TDL in Tally and see the output. Before configuring the TDL, we first delete this default sales invoice report and then add our report, which prints to the productivity suite. So here our report is PXML invoice. I configure the TDL. I enter the salesman details. In the user description field of the items. And print this voucher. So if you see, the customized sales invoice as per requirements by your customer is right in front of you with all the details filled in. And if you see, the salesman details is appearing right next to a description of goods column. So now, no need to worry about borders getting misplaced or layout getting disturbed. Customization using productivity suites is at your doorsteps to make customization more simpler and effortless. If you're wondering if only invoice and supporting documents can be printed or exported using this functionality, then the answer is a big no. Any template or document you want to print or export, be it invoice or supporting document or a normal report, can be catered using customization using productivity suites. Let's witness the same with our case 4, where you go to your customer with the customized sales invoice as per his requirements, and now he asks for a report of top buyers to be printed as shown. Following the 4-step process, we first design the layout in Excel. The design is right in front of you, giving the details of the stock item, of the party, of the quantity, the rate and amount. The second step is to code. Here the XML maps are set with the method from the collection list of sales vouchers extract, which has the details of the sales vouchers. The resource attribute of the form takes the resource definition as its parameter, where the path of the already designed Excel document is given in the source attribute, and here the resource type is Excel XML. The third step is to set the tokens in appropriate places in the source document in congruence with the code written, and that is already done. So here the company name is captured, here the line number, here the stock item name, here the party name, here the sales quantity, here the rate and here the amount. And the fourth and final step is to execute the code in Tally and see the output. We configure the TDL in Tally, and if you see, in the menu gateway of Tally, an item called Sales Summary Report is added. Now we select this item and print the report. So the required report is printed. And if you observe, the details are getting printed in the descending order of the amount, thus giving the top buyer's report. And the reason for the descending order is the sort applied in the collection list of sales vouchers extract from where the methods are set to the XML maps. So, the order in which the objects are arranged in this particular collection is the order in which the details will be rendered in the print of the top buyer's report. To summarize, the benefits of customization using productivity suites are reduction in time and reduction in effort to design the layout for different documents, and thus allowing to spend the saved time on designing the logic for deriving the data to be printed in the document. Thus, the customizations can be delivered faster to the customers, resulting in greater customer happiness. Let us now look at the language enhancements available in Tally ERP 9 Release 5.0. To start with, let's look at the language enhancements that makes print from productivity suites possible. First is the form attribute resource. The resource attribute at form level is used to specify the name of the resource definition that provides the details of XML-based source document that can be used for printing or exporting the form. The syntax is as shown. It's resource : resource name, where the resource name is the name of the resource. Here is a code snippet taken from the pick list code already explained. The form attribute resource takes the resource name TSPL pick list, which is a resource definition giving the path of the XML-based source document and the resource type. Next is the form attribute XML map. XML map is a form level list type attribute which allows specification of formula which provides appropriate value for the tokens specified in the source document file. And the syntax is XML map : map name, then the expression, then the collection name, which is an optional parameter. The map name is the name of the token which is specified in the document, that is the source document, for evaluating the value. The expression is a valid TDL expression such as method, variable or system formula. And the last parameter, which is the optional parameter, is the collection name, is the name of the collection which can be specified when the token is defined for a repeating data. Now, let us look at the concept of token and usage of XML map in detail. So, what is a token? Token is a dollar prefix text specified in the document where the name of the token is an alphanumeric value without any spaces and without any special characters. Some of the examples for dollar prefix token names are dollar company name, dollar line number, dollar date. When the source document is used for exporting or printing, all the tokens specified in the document will be substituted with appropriate values by evaluating the expressions set against the XML maps defined for the token. To explain the same, here is a token dollar company name specified in the XML based source document. When the system encounters this token, it looks for a XML map company name which is defined in the code. This XML map takes the name of the current company through the variable SV current company. Assuming the current company name to be National Traders, in the print preview we see that National Traders is substituted for the token dollar company name. What happens if the token specified in the source document is not defined in the code? If a token is not defined, then the token will be evaluated as a method in current object context. Hence, if a token refers to a method of current object, then XML map need not be defined for such tokens. To explain the same, here in the source document, the tokens $voucher type and $date are specified. In the code, there is no XML map defined for the token $date. So now, considering the current object context to be voucher with voucher type as receipt and date as 1st April 2015, the token $date gets evaluated in the voucher object context, giving the shown result in the print preview. As already seen, XML map also allows specification of repeatable data such that when referenced, Tally will create required number of rows or entries for each object in collection. Here's an example where the token in source document $ledgerName is substituted with the method $ledName from the collection let call, which gives the name of the ledgers. So, the system creates as many rows as the number of objects present in the collection let call in the printed document. Considering 4 ledgers present in the company, the print preview gives the output shown. Now, if the ledger of opening balances are also to be printed, the token is specified in the same line in the source document, and the XML map is specified in the code. Now, you may wonder how the system sets the XML maps of the OBBAL from the value from the collection while we have not specified any collection name in the XML map. This is because when the line is repeated based on the objects of the collection, the lines in the productivity suite are in context with the objects of the collection. Any token specified in these lines will get evaluated in the context of the object it is associated with. Thus, the OBBAL token gets evaluated in the context of the objects from the collection let call, giving the shown output. Here is a code snippet taken from the pick list example already shown, where TSPL pick list is the name of the resource, and the XML maps line, company name, voucher number, and so on are the ones which take the shape of tokens in the source document file. And the path of this source document file is given in the resource definition in the attribute source. Next one is the function TPL line. The function TPL line provides the line number or object index number in the current collection on which the paragraph or rows of the document are being repeated. And this function is analogous to the function $line. To illustrate the same, here is a source document having 2 tokens, $line and $ledgerName. And here is a code where there are 2 XML maps for these tokens, where line is set with the value retrieved from the function $TPL line, and the XML map ledgerName gets its value from the method ledName from the collection let call. That is, it gets the ledger name from this collection. Considering there are only 4 ledgers in the company, here is the output. So if you see, the serial numbers 1, 2, 3, 4 in the print preview are set in place of the token $line, which in turn gets its value from the function $TPL line, which is giving the object index number of the ledgers in the collection let call. And then we see the ledger names substituted for the token $ledgerName, which in turn gets its value from the method ledName from the collection let call. In the code snippet of the pick list example, the XML map line is set with the value retrieved from $TPL line. Resource attribute, resource type. In TDL, resource definition was introduced to allow accessing and using the resources like images, icons, cursors, and so on from a local disk, HTTP or FTP, or from a DLL or exe. The formats supported were JPEG, BMP, icon, and cursor. These resources were allowed to be used in part definition using the attribute image for displaying, printing, and exporting. To support the feature print from productivity suites, the resource definition is enhanced to allow the inclusion of Word XML, Excel XML, ODT, ODS, and XML as resource types. Here's the syntax of the resource definition, which has 2 attributes, source and resource type. The parameter of the source attribute is the path of the document or the image, and the parameter to the resource type is the resource types which are supported like ODS, ODT, Word XML, Excel XML, and so on. In this example, the resource type is Excel XML, meaning the XML-based source document belongs to Microsoft Excel. In the path given to the source attribute of the resource definition, TSPL picklist, mypicklist.xml is a predefined Excel XML document which is to be printed in the designed format from Tally. Now that you have understood the technicalities, why don't you try your hands on designing and printing a new invoice format as shown on the screen. Now let us look at the other language enhancements available in release 5.0, and they are enhanced user defined function with procedural action delete target to delete primary objects. Second one is the enhanced function make mail name with the addition of new parameter BCC address, making it possible to send the copy of email to BCC email ID. And the last one is introduction of some new functions. Now let us look at the function action delete target in detail. You might have faced situations where you wanted the functionality of deleting the vouchers or ledgers or any primary object. Since the functionality was not available prior to the release, you would have spent time in looking for workarounds to achieve the same. With release 5.0, the workarounds are no more necessary as we can now delete the primary objects with the function action delete target. The syntax is as shown. Here is a code snippet showing the usage of the function action delete target. Let us understand the functionality of this action by using the same in our code. This program aims at deleting the unused ledgers in the company. Unused ledgers are those which are not used anywhere in the company and with no opening balance. In this function, dellet, a collection of these unused ledgers are walked through and these are deleted by using the function action delete target. And the number of ledgers in the company before and after deletion are displayed. Now, this function is called in a button added to the menu gateway of Tally. Now let's execute this code in Tally. So as you see, the button is added in the menu gateway of Tally, and at the click of this button, I first receive a message saying there are 9 ledgers before deletion, so there are 9 ledgers in this company. The unused ledgers are logged through the function and the unused ledgers are led to and state bank. So these 2 ledgers were deleted using the function action delete target. And now the number of ledgers after deletion, that is the number of ledgers at present in the company, are 7. Moving on to the next enhancement, which is the enhanced function make mail name. The function make mail name, which prior to this release accepted 9 parameters like from address, to address, CC address and so on, now accepts an optional 10th parameter BCC address, which accepts the BCC email ID where the copy of the email is to be sent. The syntax as seen, a 10th parameter BCC address is added. Let's now look at the new functions added in release 5.0, starting with the functions added to the data type time, and they are hour of the day, minute of the day, second of the day and millisecond of the day, and these take parameter of type date time and these functions give the respective time details. Now let us look at the behavior of the same in the product. Here I have a report with 4 fields for the 4 functions, and the functions take the parameter of type date time where the date is hard-coded to 2/2015 and the time is taken as the machine time through the function $machine time up to seconds by specifying yes as its parameter. And for the function millisecond of day, the time is hard-coded to 23:45:9:56 where 56 is the millisecond of the time. And this particular report is added to the menu gateway of Tally as an item called date time. Now let's execute the code in Tally. As you can see, an item called date time is added to the menu gateway of Tally. Once we select this item, we see a report displaying the hour of the day as 13, minute of the day as 30, second of the day as 21 and millisecond of the day as 56. As we had hard-coded the millisecond of the day as 56, the same is getting displayed. Thus, in the same way, these functions can be used to execute any time-based operations or functions like taking backup of the data or restoring the data and so on. The last function is the TDL function WORDINFO. This function helps to find whether Microsoft Word is installed in the system or not, and if installed, which is the version available. And the syntax is right in front of you, with the function taking one parameter, that is info type, and the info type can be either version or is doc supported or is docx supported. When the WORDINFO has the parameter version, it gives the version number of the word installed. When it is doc supported or is docx supported, it returns a logical value. Now let's look at the functionality of the same in the product. Here is a code with a function called mword, which has two log information, one checking if the docx is supported or not, and the other giving the version number of the Microsoft Word installed with the help of the function WORDINFO. And this function is called in the button mword, which is added to the menu gateway of Tally. As you can see, the button mword is added to the menu gateway of Tally, and when I click the button, it gives me two log information, one is yes and 14. Yes meaning the docx is supported in my system, and 14 is the version number of the Microsoft Word installed in my system. Likewise, this function can be used to check if Microsoft Word is installed in the system or not, and if it is installed, Microsoft Word application can be used in executing set of functions like writing to Word document or printing to Word document using productivity suites and so on, and if it is not installed, some other application can be used. Now that we have a fair knowledge of functional and technical aspects of the language enhancements in release 5.0, let us now have a quick recap of the same. To make customization of templates like reports and invoices less effort and time consuming, the functionality of customization using productivity suites is introduced in release 5.0, and the productivity suites supported are Microsoft Office 2003 and above, OpenOffice and XML Exchange. And this functionality can be achieved by specifying two form attributes and one resource attribute in TDL. And the first one, the form attribute resource, which is used to specify the name of the resource definition that provides the details of the XML-based source document that can be used for printing or exporting the form. The next one is the form attribute XML map. This is the attribute where you specify the formula or method which carries the data to be written to the document by assigning to tokens specified in the source document file. The last attribute is the resource attribute resource type. Resource definition is where the path of the source document is specified in the source attribute of it, and in the resource type attribute, based on the productivity suite used, Word XML, Excel XML, ODT, ODS or XML is specified as its parameter. Next is token. So token is a dollar prefix text specified in the source document where the name of the token is an alphanumeric value without any spaces and without any special characters. The function TPL line. So the function TPL line provides the line number or object index number in the current collection on which the paragraph or rows of the document are being repeated. From the case studies already seen, we now know that there are 4 simple steps to be followed for using the functionality of customization using productivity suites. First one is design, where you design the required layout in any productivity suite. Next is code, where the code is written to push the required data into the design productivity suite. And then set, where the tokens are set in the productivity suite in congruence with the code. And last is the execute, where the code is executed in Tally and the output is obtained. And finally, we see the print preview behavior. As we all know, the tokens are set in the source document file, and then the values for the tokens are set in the XML maps in the code. Once the print or export action is initiated, the tokens are replaced with the respective values assigned in the XML maps, and the preview opens up in the chosen application with a randomly generated file name. And this can be further used for edit. Then moving on to the recap of the other language enhancements already seen. Using the function action delete target, it is now possible to delete any primary object through TDL. The function makeMailName is enhanced with the addition of the 10 parameter BCC address, with the help of which the copy of the mail can be sent to the BCC email ID. Next is the new functions added in release 5.0, starting with the new function added to the data type time, that is hour of the day, minute of day, second of day and millisecond of day, which take parameter of type date time and gives the respective time details. And the last function is the function WORDINFO, which can be used to check if Microsoft Word is installed in the system or not. That brings us to the end of the session. Thank you.